Welcome, renters. I'm Harriet. I work for an upstate New York landlord, and this channel is here to help you make the most of your lease. But first, some disclosures. I'm not a lawyer. Don't get your legal advice from me. We're just here for entertainment and information. Hope it's helpful. So today's topic is ERAP. Yeah, I'm a broken record, right? The New York State Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And today, or at least this video, we're going to go through the COVID-19 Hardship tab on the application. So you've already created a registration. That was 2 videos ago. You've already created your application and filled out the applicant information. That was 1 video ago. So now we're just going to keep on going. Here is the COVID-19 Hardship page. So as you can see here, it's got a bunch of questions. And as you go through some of these questions and answers can adjust. So first of all, it does say that the program requires that you or your household members must be financially impacted by COVID-19. And this is how you can show the state of New York what that looks like. So have you or any household member received unemployment benefits at any point since March 13th, 2020? Now, example hasn't, but if you do click yes, there's no extra questions to answer at this point, but that'll be no for us. And then it says, how were you and or other household members financially impacted by COVID-19? And again, like the other screens, these little red asterisks mean that you have to answer the question. So you can be impacted because your income is down. That would be reduction in household income. And if you click that, you get a bunch of questions of exactly how was your income reduced. Were your wages down? Were you terminated from your employment? Were you furloughed? Were you sick and unable to work? Were your hours reduced? Did your business close? Did you receive unemployment or something else? And if you click other, then you type in your explanation right here. If you check other, you put in your explanation right here. Could be anything, right? And then you might have been impacted by COVID-19, not because your income is reduced. Your income could be just the same as it used to be, and you could still be impacted by COVID-19 for this program. You might have had increased costs. And if that's the case, again, you're going to have a bunch of different specific things to fill in, as well as other. So this could be new or increased healthcare costs. Could be remote work expenses because maybe you had to buy some equipment or get some internet capability to work remotely. It could be increased cost for essential items such as food, medicine, childcare, transportation. That might have affected all of us because I don't know about you, but prices have certainly gone up where I live. It could be penalties, fees, and or legal costs associated with rental or utility arrears. So you may be in a region where the eviction courts have reopened and your landlord may have started an eviction proceeding against you and you may have had costs associated with that. That would qualify you. Your transportation costs could have gone up. You might have been having to pay for or provide at-home care for someone with COVID-19. You might have remote learning expenses. So if your kids were needing to learn remotely and you had to get internet or computer capabilities for that, that counts. You might have needed to purchase personal protective equipment. You might have needed to make payments by credit card or loan to cover your rent because otherwise you didn't have the income to cover it. That also counts. Or even, sadly, funeral costs, which if you had, you definitely deserve to qualify, right? Or again, other. And then the final thing is maybe your income wasn't down, maybe your costs weren't up, so to speak, but there was something else that financially impacted you for COVID. You can click other and explain it there. So we're going to say increased costs for essential items. And then scrolling on down, there's also a bunch of additional things they're asking for. The reason that ERAP is asking for these is if you can answer yes to any of these, then you qualify for accelerated priority during the first 30 days of the program that is for the month of June 2021. So if you are currently unemployed for at least 90 days, you can check that off. If you are experiencing domestic violence, you get priority, you can check that. If you have an eviction case related to your current residence that's pending in court now, you get priority handling, you can check that off. If you live in a building or development that has 20 or fewer units, so if you're in a 1-family or 2-family unit or an apartment that has 11 total units, check that off. If you are a veteran, you can get priority. If you are a survivor of human trafficking, you get priority. If you are in a mobile home park and you have arrears accrued on the land for where your mobile home is at, you get priority. Or it could be that you don't qualify for any of these, just click none of the above, in which case you wouldn't get priority. But in example's case, example lives in a building of 20 or fewer units. And then you can go ahead and hit save. And when you do that, if you've skipped anything, it would give you an error. But in this case, it's thinking. So it automatically takes us to the next tab, which is additional household members, and we will cover that in the next video. I hope you enjoyed this and that this information will help you make the most of your lease. Until then, may your home be your best nest. Take care. Oops. For you or these little red asterisks, you can be so you can to work remotely. So if your kids you might have, there's also a bunch of additional, it looks like, yes, that worked.